Let's talk about some of the rainfall that we're seeing across the area. Active severe thunderstorm warning just northeast of the viewing area. For folks there in Lewis County, they had that warning earlier, now beginning to push towards the north and east. But right along the 64 corridor, including here in Lexington, I believe we're just tracking out a heavy rain threat. The severe threat is more confined south and southeast as this low pressure system and this cold front eventually swings through. And as it does so, it's going to pop off some more showers and storms. In fact, we have to watch areas to our west and southwest across portions of Middle Tennessee, getting into eastern Tennessee as those cells develop to our southwest and they track towards the north and east. And as that happens, that's going to bring more inclement weather, possible severe thunderstorms, and a few isolated tornadoes as we continue to work through this afternoon and into this evening. So let's stop that motion there. You can see the moderate to heavy rainfall continues here across the bluegrass, including here in Lexington. Notice some of the red showing up indicating that heavier rainfall. What we're going to do is we're going to zoom over here and look at this storm that's working back into portions of Casey County. I feel like these folks, this area cannot catch a break from some of the heavy rainfall that we continue to see moving across these areas. Now, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning that is ongoing for this area, and that's going to continue for the next little bit. That's pulling up the tornado watch there, but severe thunderstorm warning continues for portions of Casey County. This includes the city of Liberty. Strongest part of the storm looks like it's now beginning to make its move into the northern one half of Casey County. Let's turn over to our velocity here. I'm going to switch radar sights so we can get a slightly better scan on this storm. And there you go. I believe this severe thunderstorm warning, if I'm correct, Justin, has a tour tag on it. I think you said that earlier, and you can see some of that rotation right there. This is just north of Liberty. So if you're in Liberty, points to the south, you're okay as far as the rotating part of this storm. But if you're on the northern one half of the viewing area, or I should say Casey County, you need to be getting into your safe place. So let's go ahead and give this a track here. I want to talk about the strongest part of this storm, the core of this storm, the rotating core. And we're going to track this off towards the east. Excuse me. And let's put a tracker on this, heading towards Stanford. So these are some of the areas, the communities where this rotating part of the thunderstorm continues to track towards. So we're talking folks there in Ellisburg, Butchertown, in the next 5 upwards to 15 minutes. Some of these areas you need to think about heading to your safe place because we're going to be talking winds, heavy rainfall, some lightning, but also that rotation that we're seeing right here just north of Liberty. We continue down the line, getting into, say, folks there in Turnersville, Blue Lick, Jumbo, Junction City over the next 20-25 minutes. Again, this part of the storm, this rotating part of the storm, will be tracking towards the north and east. So there's another thunderstorm warning that is still working through portions of Adair County right now. Not seeing much in the way of rotation. That's good news, but some damaging wind gusts also a possibility, along with this cell as well in Casey County. They said damaging winds up to about 70 miles per hour will be a possibility. So certainly going to be watching this system closely, or this cell closely, as we continue over the next 10 to 15 minutes or so. Let's zoom things back out. We're going to go back to radar. I want to take a look at everything here and put this into motion just to see what we're tracking out. You can see over the last hour, all the tornado warnings that we had issued just to our west and southwest. We've had some damage reports from these same storms in Hopkinsville. So we had a few reports that we were seeing on Twitter as well from Bowling Green, perhaps some damage there. That's something we're going to continue to track out and keep a close eye on for you guys, because this is exactly what we're talking about. This is some of the photos, or at least one of them, that was tweeted over to, it looks like WHOP, the AM FM radio station there. And look at that. Certainly some tornado damage. The reason I say that, some of the siding you see in those photos have been wrapped around light poles. That's a good sign to me that we've had potential spin up that quickly hit the area. And you can see these photos showing fairly significant damage to the roofs, to sides of buildings, to light poles. Looks like some windows were blown out. So these storms, folks, they are capable of producing those damaging to gusty winds, the heavy rainfall, and again, an isolated spin up. That remains on the table as we continue through this afternoon and into this evening. Want to head it over to Justin right now, see if he's tracking anything, seeing any new reports. I know this storm that was heading into Casey County, it's packing a punch. Winds are up there with a little bit of rotation showing up as well. So Any reports you're seeing, Justin?
Thankfully, none with that storm so far. That's good news. But even though that we're not seeing a tornado warning on this, we've seen at least some broad rotation just north of Liberty. Bear with me here. We're going to zoom in, do a little storm tracking here, and get a little closer, kind of show you some of the other storms that are up there, too, in places like Montgomery County, over into Bath, and southern parts of Clark County. Here's the storm, though, that Chris was mentioning. They did drop the warning, but from what I'm seeing on this storm here in the northern part of Casey County, just north of Liberty, it'd be a good idea for sure just to stay in your safe place. You want to be indoors, away from windows here. Gusty winds on the order of at least 50+ miles per hour. Let me switch our product and you'll see what I'm talking about. I'll look and see if there's any rotation. Very, very weak. That's why obviously there's not a tornado warning right now, or at least even a severe thunderstorm warning. But when we flip another product, this is the winds inside the storm here. Let me switch radars, and this is going to give us a better picture as to what's going on. You can see anytime we see the reds and the greens next to each other, this is north again of Liberty, northern Casey County, you can see at least the potential for some rotation. But when it's broad like that, that's a sign. Nope, there is not a tornado right now, but there is still some gustier winds, which is why I said a moment ago. If you live in Casey County, also next in line would be Lincoln County. Don't be out traveling, all right? You want to be indoors, away from windows, and stay in there until this storm does pass on by. Bear with me here, though, as we wind back out the view. I want to reset things real quick. Chris was talking about these storms south and west of us earlier. Look at this damage report. Let me clear that off, and you can see several structures, power poles, trees damaged. Mutual aid is responding. This was in Hobson, Kentucky, so this is back over into Taylor County earlier as the storm. This is the one that's now crossing over into northern Casey County. So this is why we say it's had the history of producing at least some damaging wind gusts. It doesn't take a tornado, obviously, to create any damage, all right? We'll keep an eye on that. Now we're going to head over to meteorologist David Aldridge for another update. David?
Hey, thanks a lot, Justin. You know, we were talking about Happy New Year. This is the first day of the new year. We average about 3.42 for the entire month, and yet many of you further south have had more than that in places like Breathitt County and Jackson County, just to name a few. But we are concerned about the flooding. Even though tornado warnings can come and go, they can expire in 15 minutes, maybe 30 minutes or less. The flooding can sometimes linger, and it's the #1 severe weather killer is flash flooding. So don't take it lightly. Take it seriously. Remember, your decisions have consequences. If you do decide to take a path down a road where there's a lot of water on that road, well, there's usually a first responder that has to come rescue that person. So it's best that you not take that path. Find an ulterior road. Certainly, you'll notice the warm air that Justin and Chris, both Chris and Justin were talking about. Much warmer here, which is why it's adding more buoyancy to the atmosphere. It's causing more instability, as it were, where it's a lot cooler in northern sections of Kentucky. But further south down I-75, there's certainly that element. You'll notice how much cooler. 57 in Lexington, last check here on the Kentucky Mesonet. 57 there in Winchester, Moorhead, as well as Rowan County. Upper 50s, probably near 60. Look at that, 67 around Whitesburg. That's just to give you a sample of how much warmer it is to the south. 67 around Whitley City, down across parts of the deep south and then toward Wayne County, Monticello. Very warm as compared to maybe Elizabethtown, we're in the upper 50s. But we're getting some information that they just canceled. The National Weather Service in Louisville just canceled the severe thunderstorm warning for Allen County, Kentucky. So some of these are beginning to fall apart. Some cooler air back to the west is a good indication that this won't last that much longer. But my message is the flooding may linger a lot longer, and that causes a lot of problems, especially if it gets in your basements or crawl spaces. But here's the radar. One more time, you can see some heavy rains in red around Danville, around, say, Boyle County, and over toward Madison County, around Richmond, and heading up toward Moorhead. So this is really the pockets of the heavy rain, but standing water can still be an issue. We'll be watching it closely. Let's go back to Chief Meteorologist Chris Johnson.
Hey, thanks, David. Yes, like you said, lots of rainfall out there, and the issues as far as flooding is concerned will continue to climb as we head deeper into this afternoon, working into this evening, because some of those already well-saturated locations across southern and southeastern Kentucky, we're expecting more rain from these potential strong to severe storms, and that's going to dump even more rain on top of some locations picking up 4 to 5 inches of rain. So we're tracking plenty of issues as we work through this evening. Here's the good news. They have dropped those severe thunderstorm warnings that were just west and southwest of the viewing area. That one warning was working into portions and now through northern Casey County, still packing some winds. So don't let your guard down as far as this cell is concerned. Now just moving south of Danville, southern portions of Mercer County. This is heading into folks there in Lincoln County. Houstonville heads up. That is a small community just west that is going to be feeling some wind and some heavy rain here in the next little bit. Watching more activity back to our west and southwest. That's something that we'll continue to keep a close eye on. Now that we have this tornado watch that has been extended and in place, continues into this evening until 8 o'clock. So we're not out of the woods yet. We're going to be keeping a close eye on everything. Meteorologist David Aldridge, meteorologist Justin Logan will be right here in the Weather Center, keeping a close eye on all these storms and the potential for some rotating storms as we climb into this evening. So keep it here. We're going to have more updates coming your way. We'll be sure to break on anytime we need to cover more storms. So get back to programming here in just a second. But for now, we'll have the latest details and more on that forecast later on today, especially tonight for the 10, which is the Fox 56 10 o'clock news. That's our launch. We'll see you soon.
From Fox 56 News, the Weather Authority, this is a severe weather alert.